So, Nick, you have a massive event set to unfold on Saturday at the University of Oklahoma. Tell us a little bit about this event.
Yeah, it's amazing. Students reached out to us last fall, and this is a student-led effort. What that means is God gave a few seniors a vision and a burden that literally people have prayed for and dreamed about for decades here in Oklahoma. And I think this is true of universities across America, but they've said it's time to fill the stadium. And so these kids reached out, and our team has been working alongside them, logistics, operations. But the wild thing is, there's never been an event at this stadium that's been student led or faith based. And the university said no 50 times. And on February 8th, the day the revival broke out at Asbury, is the day the university said yes. And so it's like the students see this as all interconnected. This is revival, and it's just taking on different forms now.
I got chills when you were saying that because there are a couple of things I want to unpack here. You talked about the fact that this was rooted last year. So this is way before they wanted to do this, way before Asbury happened, right? This was on their hearts. Then on the very day, they get the clearance to do this after being told no over and over and over again. That is incredible. What for you? You've been doing this for a long time. What does that do to your faith when you experience something like that?
It makes me repent, you know. Yeah, because to be honest, Billy, I was one of the people. Like, So background, I got started doing this when I was in college, and I wanted to reach my campus, and so that's how the Ministry Pulse started. It was on a secular university, and up until now, that first Pulse event was the largest that I've ever heard of secular university outreach. We had 8,000 students come out. We had 1,200 kids respond to the gospel my senior year. And so literally the last now 20 years, we've been sprinting after that same thing and have only dreamed of a major university, a major stadium. God, could it happen? What would happen if Goliath fell? And what kind of faith would that unleash? Because these venues are the temples of these states. I mean, the football stadium in Oklahoma is the temple of Oklahoma. The football stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan is the temple of Michigan. I mean, you could argue there's more worship in these places than anywhere. And so, these students though, I mean, we were like, come on guys, like maybe, the arena's fine, or maybe let's just not limit God. But they're like, no, God told us. I mean, this is like Luke 18, widow's mite, not going to leave the door, not going to give up. And here we are, God is doing it. And then it was like, we get the stadium, we don't have an artist. Is this even going to happen? Guys, should we maybe think about, the venue's like, do you guys want to postpone? What are you doing? Nope, we're pressing on. And then all of a sudden the artists start to come. And then all of a sudden, like, we release tickets one day, and then 2 days later, we have 5,000 tickets gone. And then 5 days later, all the tickets are gone. And so it's like, okay, literally like 10 days before, I'm talking to my board chairman about whether this should happen. 10 days later, I'm talking to him, say, well, it's clearly supposed to happen because we're out of tickets, and like, I don't know. It's been a total, if you're a type A planner, this is your worst nightmare.
It is historic. And I know Craig Groeschel said, I have his quote in front of me, this may be the most significant university outreach in the history of America. That's an incredible quote. And it's specifically incredible that you guys are doing this. And I want to talk more about the event specifically in a moment, but I have to ask you a broader question. But it's specifically incredible after Asbury and everything that we've watched happen in this country over the past few months. It really does feel like something is afoot. Now, we've interviewed you about this. We've talked with you, but there are a lot of people out there who have been skeptical. Is there really revival going on? Is something really happening? Can you clear up where you stand on that based on what you are seeing more broadly?
Yeah, the thing I like to say is we as humans are critical thinkers by nature, by experience, and by design. And so for those that are skeptical and questioning, I just want to say, man, there's space for you, and that's okay. Like, God doesn't judge and condemn us for being cynical. Like, thank God, right, that Lee Strobel was a skeptic. Like, thank God that Josh McDowell didn't have the answers. Thank God because man, it takes people like them to reach people like them. I think that in moments like this, we kind of pit one against the other. There's the people that really believe this is revival, and then there's people like, no, it's not revival. And then we get into these like arguing matches of like, now I'm like judging, I'm mad at you and you're mad at me. And I just like none of that's not God's heart. I think God in his mercy has space for all of us, right? He has space for Peter, who jumps in the water, and he has space for Thomas, who has questions. And so wherever you are, I think there's room. Now, I would argue, based on history of what I know has happened in the history of revival and awakenings, and based on that personal experience that I've had and the data that would point to these things. I mean, Wall Street Journal just ran an article about the spiritual surge among Gen Z. I mean, literally, this is we just have to remember, this is the generation that not that long ago, I mean, I'm talking like November, December, people would have never believed any of this, right? Like the thought that a stadium is being filled by students, the thought that revival would have gone on for 2 weeks, nonstop prayer, worship, night and day, night and day. I don't know what you call that, but literally revival is the only word that you can even come up with. Like, it's not manufactured. This isn't human design. This isn't some like good marketing ploy. This is crazy. Like, it's unexplainable phenomenon. And so my take on it is just to say, if God's moving, like, I want to be a part of it, and what I was quoted saying earlier was, when the wind blows, you can analyze, is it wind? You can even go get your PhD in wind, or you can throw your sail up and say, God, if this is wind, take me, And so
I like that.
I'm of the mindset of saying, you know what, God, if you're moving, move me where you want, And I just think what I would challenge everybody listening and watching this is, if you're content with the way your life has been the last years, then stay how you are. But if, like me, you would say, man, I'm not content with the way I've reacted to what's happened. I'm not content with the way our culture has reacted to all that's happened. And so, like, if that doesn't stir a hunger for something more, I don't know what will. And I think that's what's brought us to this moment. These kids are the lead worshipers in this moment.
Well, that's incredible. And I've got one more question for you. But before I ask you, I'm just going to say it is interesting watching Damar Hamlin, the prayer that followed that, Jesus Revolution, Asbury. I mean, there are a lot of things going on, and where there's smoke, there's fire, I think, across the country, right? There's a lot of negative things happening in the country, but at the same time, these spiritual resurgences that we're seeing all over the place, this event now happening, which again, I think it's fascinating that they came to you in the fall, a long time ago, to talk about this, way before we were even having these conversations, like you said. So final question, for those who want to know specifics, what is it going to be like inside the stadium on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, some people have gotten critical or confused about the event. There's a prominent secular artist that's a part of this event. And, one of the things that I'd like to say is, like, I think a sign of revival, and you can see this historically and biblically. Like, I think of Zacchaeus, right? Zacchaeus is this broken man who encounters Jesus. And as a result of his encounter with Jesus, he says, "Here, Lord, I'm going to repay all these things and then some," right? And he hosts kind of a house party, right, to invite other sinners in to hear Jesus, right? So it's like, the way to change culture is to change a heart. And so evidence of when God is moving in a heart is people take whatever they have and throw it up for the glory of God. And so that's what you see happening now. Revival is spreading, and I think you see celebrities, athletes, some unlikely characters wanting to use their microphone to say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I'm not pretending to be perfect, but Jesus has changed my life, and he can change your life. And so this event is entirely, from start to finish, designed to encounter God, to ask for his presence to come, to have the clear preaching of the gospel, to have students who are sharing testimonies, but absolutely it will be welcoming to those who are not church kids, right? So the students this week are like, man, we really have to be ready, because we're expecting that kids are going to come straight from the party to this event. Like, we're fully expecting there's going to be a ton of rowdy, wild kids. And you know what? We want them. We want them. We welcome them. Like, we rejoice that that kid that's partying and thinks that's their life, that we're putting on something that they want to come to. Because you know what? I believe Jesus loves that kid, welcomes that kid. And so what you can expect is a very diverse group of people. You can expect, people encountering God, worshiping God. You can expect people who are coming that aren't church people, acting like it. And you can expect the clear preaching of the gospel and, Lord willing, massive rejoicing in heaven as people are turning from death to life, because that's why we're doing this.
Well, Nick Hall, we'll be praying for that, and we can't wait to see how it unfolds. Appreciate your time as always.
Hey, thanks, Billy.